All right, time for some party streamers. Blokes own in less than 60% of leagues in ESPN Fantasy, or roughly. We are filming this before the waivers have been sent through for this week, so they could change drastically by the time you're listening to this. But quarterback, are we going with the same old, same old? Is Derek Carr once again getting a mention for you, or
Definitely not. I mentioned Derek Carr last week, and he scored, I think, 0.5 against Atlanta Falcons. So, but no, I don't know if this is biased, but I've been high on this bloke all year. But Ryan Tannehill's in under
yeah,
60%
he must
of
have got
leagues.
dropped a lot last week because I
Yeah,
swear his ownership wasn't low last
I
week.
think it's because in the last 4 weeks he's played Ravens, Indy, Chicago, Indy, but
Yeah.
the man's got to rip his schedule, and he's averaging 20 points per game. So, like, he should be your number one waiver priority, even in a one QB league this week. He's got Cleveland, and I think he'll ball out against Cleveland and beyond.
He rushed for a TD on the weekend, and any quarterback who does that for the boys is automatically fantasy relevant. So, yeah,
He does like a cheeky read option on the goal line. Dogs Henry from time to time, but yeah, no, he's definitely, in my opinion, the best streamer for this week.
yeah. Apart from Tannehill, for me, there wasn't really a clear option. So I've just got a few names here that I just want to discuss. So first of all, he had an absolute stinker last week, and we mention him every week. But Derek Carr is against the Jets. I talked about it yesterday in the real life episode. I've got the Raiders to pump the Jets pretty significantly. So if they do that, Josh Jacobs might be out, so they're likely going to be leaning on the pass game, especially considering the Jets are actually a pretty good run defense. So if they do smash them like I'm expecting, Carr will go pretty well there, but it is a risk after he's put up 2 stinkers in 3 weeks. Mitch Trubisky is also an interesting risky play. He's actually, although he's pretty bad in real life, he's not he's fond of a cheeky fantasy performance because he likes to just sling it. But he's up against the Lions, who have been the worst pass defense this month, in November, sorry. And yeah, he's not obviously going to go at 80% completion or something. But on the weekend, he had 18 against the Packers and he had 3 turnovers. I thought he played pretty bad and he still got to 18. So the Lions are better against the run than the pass as well. So they'll probably lean on Montgomery less and look to Trubisky more. And yeah, the only thing is, I think it will be a low scoring contest because the Lions, I don't think their offense is in that great a form. And I think the Bears' defense will pose problems and the Chicago offense is in an absolute state. So there might not be too many touchdowns for him. But I think if you're willing to risk it for the biscuit and chuck him in your super flex, I think he's not the worst option. And then I've just quickly done my waiver QB rankings out of the blokes I'm interested in our league. And I actually have Nick Mullins and Mike Glennon above Mitch Trubisky. So, I guess they're probably a bit safer than Trubisky, but have a lot less upside. So, if you want just someone who's going to give you 15 or something, maybe Mullins or Glennon is the man for your team. But yeah, apart from Tannehill, there's probably not really a safe option this week. Got to put a lot of risk going forward if you're going to stream a QB2 or Superflex. But good luck to those who are going to have a crack at it. Running backs, who are you looking at here?
I've gone J.K. Dobbins here. They're playing the Dallas Cowboys, one of the worst run defenses in the comp. And he's been, the last 3 or 4 weeks, he's been the alpha running back there. He's starting to get more work. So I'd say he's got a floor of about, I could see him rushing for easily 70 yards, maybe a couple catches. And if he gets in the end zone, he's put up a monster for you. So, and he's only in 50% of leagues. I thought he'd be in way more.
Yeah, I think people, because of COVID, I think he was the main waiver priority last week. And then because he got ruled out because of COVID, I feel like everyone just forgot about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, before he missed this week's game, he was balling out pretty well. So yeah, good shout. And he's not even a streamer. He's probably a solid option moving forward for the rest of the year as well, actually.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the New England Patriots here. Rex Burkhead has gone down with the season-ending injury, and he was actually their main red zone carry man. And I was waiting I didn't want to jump the gun, but I wanted to see how they split the red zone carry. So I've actually got both Damien Harris and James White as risky but solid streaming options this week. Harris had 4 red zone carries. White had 2. White actually scored both of his carries, but Harris had the more volume in the red zone. Harris is the safer option. He has good ground volume, rushes for like 15 times a game. He doesn't really have much impact in the air, if any. I don't think he's seen a target in the last couple of weeks, but they're against the worst run defense in the league since October this week and in the Chargers. And James White, as I mentioned, riskier, but he sees more air targets and he's more important in the passing game. And he also gets a little bit of red zone action. So he's similar to like a JD McKissick, but I'm hoping he's not going to put up a 4 for you. So, yeah, I think Harris is the better option, but White, if you're feeling risky or you're expecting maybe after his 2 TD performance, they might give him more of a gig, then he could also be a risky play. White out, so who are you looking at here?
Yeah, I'll just quickly give a shout out to Booker from the Raiders. If Jacobs gets ruled out, then he's definitely a good stream against the Jets. But wideouts, pretty sure I've had this bloke here every single week because no one ever picks him up, and that's Corey Davis. Tannehill actually likes to throw to him. I'm pretty sure he's averaging the same amount of targets as AJ Brown over the last month or so. So, yeah, he's an underrated option, I reckon, and he's still only in 50-odd% of leagues. So if you need a wideout, if you're in a deep league, I'd definitely pick him up and stream him. And Cleveland's a good matchup.
Yeah. I still don't really know how he hasn't been getting picked up, but like I am someone who hasn't picked him up, so I can't really talk shit. But my guy, we talked about Deebo Samuel being a sell high before, and I'm actually going the reason why he is a sell high, and I'm going Brandon Ayuk. It is risky because we've only seen him play with Deebo Samuel, I think, once. But I think their game against the Bills is going to be pretty high scoring. This is assuming he's back, of course. It's not confirmed, but from COVID or whatever. But I reckon 49ers Bills is going to be a shootout. I do have the 49ers winning it as well, so I can see them putting up quite a lot of points. I just think anyone in that offense who gets enough volume is automatically a pretty good fantasy option. And before he was out with COVID, he had a really good 3-week stretch. I think he scored over 15 every week there. So he's kind of been forgotten about, similar to J.K. Dobbins, but I think he's a pretty good option. I think he's just under 60% ownership. So he could be a solid option moving forward. And if you're looking to be a little bit friskier, both Nelson Aguilar and Alan Lazard, they have actually seen quite a few targets lately. Lazard's coming back from injury. I think he's a very talented player in real life, and I think Rodgers is going to trust him a little bit more now that he's back from injury. I think the last 2 weeks they've just been easing him back in, but I reckon this week he might see a lot more volume. And Aguilar, he's kind of gone from just being like a 4-target Hail Mary kind of dude to he's actually like seeing 6 to 7 a game now. So he's a riskier option because he has put up small scores before this season, but against the Jets, expecting them to score a lot of points, and Aguilar should be on the end of 1 or 2 if he keeps his recent trends up. So if you're feeling a little bit friskier, those 2 could be solid shouts. Tight ends, mate, our favourite.
Yeah, look, I don't know about this one because whenever this bloke has a big week, he seems to have a stinker the next week. But Robert Tonyan, it was Boris options on the waiver wire for tight ends, but Tonyan's in like 40% of leagues, and he's actually been pretty good. He's averaging like 12. I know that's inflated by a big 35, but he has been serviceable and he's copping a few targets. So if you're desperate for a tight end, Robert Tonyan, good option.
Yeah, he's been decent. Mine is very risky, but Kyle Rudolph. He got really hot at this point last year, and I think he might have caught it. I actually don't know what he did on the weekend. I think he did pretty well though.
Yeah, he did.
Irv
Smith's out. Yeah,
Irv Smith's been out for a few weeks, and he has seen his volume go up. He's likely to miss this week as well. So they're up against the Jags. You'd expect the Vikings to put up quite a few points in that one, and like a lot of TDs, he's a ever-present red zone threat. Cousins pretty much threw a touchdown to him every game for the second half of last year. So, I think he's a risky option, but has a high ceiling. And then my safer option would be Jimmy Graham. I was actually going to pick him up last week, but our Jimmy Graham owner dropped him on the day of the game, so he was on the waivers, which was what we like to see. But he's one of Mitchell Trubisky's favorite red zone options. They're up against the Detroit Lions, so if you're expecting the Lions' defense is pretty bad, so if you think the Chicago offense is going to click this week, Jimmy Graham could be in for a TD, so he's another option. Always a pretty reliable player in that spot.
It's a miracle! Oh, yeah! What about that one? Unbelievable! Balotelli, Aguero! Crowd cheers. Here's Siddle.